I remember talking to Darnold last year after that game, a 19-14 win by the Panthers, and he said it really didn't hit him until the national anthem, and he's standing there looking across the field at the Jets thinking,
I used to be there.
I'm supposed to be over there, not
Right.
over here. And I have a feeling Baker Mayfield will go through something similar to that coming up in 19 days. Here's Sam Darnold on losing the competition and therefore being the backup quarterback to Baker Mayfield.
Me and Baker viewed it, every single day. We were fighting for the starting job. And every day was our game day out there during camp. And, especially as we got into these last couple weeks, with training with New England and the game against Washington, and obviously our game against New England. So, obviously it didn't go my way. Coach named Baker the starter, and my mindset, is it is what it is. And for me right now, I'm going to do everything I can to support Baker and get him ready to play a game. Obviously, we still got one more preseason game left, so I'm focused on that. But when the regular season comes around, I'm going to do everything I can to support him and be ready for when my time comes.
And, hey, it's a 17-game season. That's something that head coach Matt Rule said yesterday. They got to have their quarterback room ready. Most teams use multiple quarterbacks at some point in a 17-game season. At some point, you're going to have your second quarterback out there. At some point, you may have your third quarterback out there. Now, some coaches and executives would say if you're down to quarterback number 3, you're already screwed anyway. But still, we've seen most teams. I don't have the numbers in front of me. This is just visceral, qualitative recollection. You've got plenty of teams that, for whatever reason, either because the guy doesn't play as well as he was supposed to, or the team is on thin ice and the coaching staff is on hot seat, or there's an injury, whatever. There's a lot of reasons why you get to the second guy. And assuming the Panthers keep Sam Darnold, they've never said or done anything, Chris, to create the real impression they would trade Sam Darnold.
Right.
But as you made the point a week or two ago, he's making more than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
At 18.8 plus the 17th game check, he's making 19.9. Baker's down around 15. The Panthers only paying him 5. There's an incentive package there. If you could unload Sam Darnold, if this is no different than Sam Bradford in 2016. We didn't know the Eagles were looking to move Sam Bradford. We thought they were going to go forward with him as the starter and Carson Wentz, second overall pick, as the backup until the planets lined up for them to get a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick from the Vikings. If there is, and this is where it becomes very interesting, if there is that serious injury to a starting quarterback between now and the start of the season, do they call the Panthers for Darnold? Do they call the 49ers for Jimmy G?
Yeah, there's a little competition there for sure. And I do wonder, too. I think, first off, Sam Darnold, very mature team guy. We've never heard him ruffle anybody's feathers, right? The Jets, the Panthers. So I do respect Sam Darnold in a lot of ways. He's a real professional. He's a really good man and human being. But that's the first thing I thought of, too. There's the side of me that goes, wait, they can't risk, not having a good backup. This is a big year for the whole coaching staff. Matt Rule, he might be out of here if things don't go well. But at the same time, there is a guy there in Philip Walker where I feel like they trust and they like, and he does have, some ability. Unfortunately, he got into some games at the end of the year. He did some good things, but had a few games where there was some turnovers, and I don't know if he's in the trust tree, as we always say, there in Carolina altogether. So I guess I would lean right now to go, I don't know if they can gamble with that, and they need to keep Sam Darnold for just in case. And we're just coming off a year where Baker Mayfield got hurt, and he's not the biggest quarterback in football, as we all know. And then I think you couple that with the biggest weakness with the Carolina Panthers football team is their offensive line. I would think just because of that and how that lines up, I would think Sam Darnold stays there. But, you never know. And you're right. If an injury happens and they get blown out of the water by something, they might go, hey, the hell with it. Let's say Sam, Baker Mayfield, Philip Walker, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, if they can get – well, and that's where you have the tension between coaching staff and front office. If Scott Fitterer is on any more firm ground than Matt Rule, he sees an opportunity to stockpile a draft pick or two, flip an asset that he has that is otherwise just standing on the sideline making over $1 million a game.
Right.
Matt Rule may say, I want to keep this guy around because he may end up saving my ass before it's all said and done.
Exactly.
Scott Fitterer may be saying, I want to think about the future here. Why are we spending all this money for somebody who isn't playing when we can get, and who knows what they would get. But see, this is what the Vikings would have loved 6 years ago. 2 options, not 1. They had 1 option, and the Eagles stuck it to them.
Right.
For a first-round pick and a
Right.
fourth-round pick for Sam Bradford. Now you can at least negotiate. This is bad news for the 49ers when you think about it. Even though we knew this was coming, we kind of knew it was out there. The bottom line is, now that Sam Darnold is QB2 in Carolina, if somebody does need a quarterback, you can at least play the Panthers against the 49ers to get a better deal, or at least not get hijacked the way that the Vikings were in 2016 after they lost Teddy Bridgewater. So, advantage Panthers if it comes to that. We don't know what's going to happen. But, hey, here we are, 3rd week of the preseason. If starters are playing, we don't know what's going to happen.
No.
Usually,
Don't.
you get down to this last week of the preseason, the quarterbacks are in bubble wrap until week 1.
Right.
Hell, Baker Mayfield could get injured on Friday night
Exactly
against
right.
the Bills.
Yeah, that's why they can't do anything right yet. They need to, evaluate this in 1 more week, especially like we just talked about. That O-line's going to get out there and, see if they can protect him the right way. Darnold's got talent. He just hasn't been unable to kind of put it together and be consistent. And, again, I'll stick up for him. It's not necessarily all his fault either. He was with the Jets. It wasn't good, and it wasn't good just because of him. There was a lot of crappy things about the Jets, that surrounded Sam Darnold. So I think we got to remember that. And then even in Carolina, like we talked last year, McCaffrey gets hurt. I mean, the offense was horrible last year. Horrible. It'd be very hard for any quarterback to have executed and looked good with what they were doing, for the majority of the year under Joe Brady. So there was issues there. And that's where, I still got hope for a guy like Sam Darnold that he can be a starter one day. I think a lot of teams are still going to look at him if it does come down and go, damn, there's some talent to this guy. He's big. He can move a little. He's got a quick release, right? I mean, so there's things there. But I think at the end of the day, if it comes down to Jimmy Garoppolo or Sam Darnold for a team, they're going to go Jimmy Garoppolo. The optics alone wouldn't look good if you went Sam Darnold at this point. And, I think that's the thing the 49ers got, at least in their favor there.
And you got a chance to get Garoppolo for less than the 19.9
Definitely,
guarantee
right, Mike.
that Darnold's supposed to get, unless Darnold would give up some of the money to be able to go play just like Baker Mayfield did. Baker Mayfield ended up giving up more than $4 million to go play for the Panthers. He can earn about 3.3 of it back, but they have to win the Super Bowl for him to get all of it.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.